Absolutely no chance.
I'm in the minority of cricket fans, Ayaz, who think that centuries don't really matter. But even I understand how important those two centuries were for Jadeja and Washington. Now, as an Indian cricket fan, you don't often get to have the moral high ground. So I'm just going to bask in it for a moment. So, what did you think of that handshake offer from Ben Stokes and all that followed?
I mean, look, I think it was show of frustration more than anything else by Ben Stokes and the English players. I mean, he was the captain, so he was setting, leading the way, so to speak. But I think, look, nobody wants, a farcical scenario in the middle. But I think in this situation, by, you know, not forcing a situation where or asking the players to go off the field when inside 10 runs away or 12 runs away from a century was actually, in my opinion, diminishing what all cricketers, including Ben Stokes and the England team, are trying to do, which is promote the spirit of cricket. Now, let me explain the way I see it. The spirit of cricket is not just about saying, "Oh, we won't sledge and we'll play fair" and all that. It's also acknowledging the virtuosity or the excellence of the other team or the other team's players. And in this situation, for Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar to bat through more than two sessions saved the match. Remember, after Shubman Gill and KL Rahul were out in the first session, the match was very open. The fact that these two batted, put on a double century partnership, showed a lot of, I thought a lot of gumption, grit, and obviously a lot of skill. So I think that, this was not the best way to finish the match. Yes, I mean, the match, there was of no consequence after a while. But at the end of the day, you have to pay tribute to the opponent also. I mean, at the end of the day, even if it's a very drawn match, completely drawn match, you do have a handshake and continue, and you hope for, the battle to continue in the next match. So I think that show frustration is something that was unwarranted, unnecessary.
Yeah, and talking of excellence and skill, we have to talk about Joe Root, who notches up yet another century. I've lost count now already. I have to check the numbers. But I do know that he went past Jack Callis, Rahul Dravid, and Ricky Ponting in the same match. Now he's only second behind Sachin Tendulkar. So, what do you think? Does he get it?
I mean, look, the two stellar players for England have been Ben Stokes and Joe Root. I know that there's lots of runs scored by Jamie Smith. Harry Brook has looked good. Ben Duckett, Zach Crawley, all of the top order. Actually, the batting from both teams has been in sensational form. It's the bowlers who've been at the receiving end, so to speak. But I think the most influential player so far in this series has been, in my opinion, without a shadow of doubt, Ben Stokes. I know Shubman Gill has got 700 runs. KL Rahul has been in sublime form. Rishabh Pant, just such a crowd puller and such a fantastic batsman, and so on. Ravindra Jadeja himself. But Ben Stokes' influence has helped his team at the end of 4 test matches. If England is 2-1 still ahead, I think it's largely to do with Ben Stokes' contribution. In the first match, with the ball, in the second match, with the ball, in the second match, of course, they lost. But at Lords, with ball, with bat, and as captain, and in this match, certainly, 5 wickets and a century in the same test match is a very rare, occurrence. And it shows not just the quality of the player, but how focused he has been, how intent he has been on leading his team into a situation from where they can win the series. In my opinion, the way I've seen him, we saw it at Lords. He bowled 20 overs virtually on the last day. He's like a man possessed. So, I mean, in that sense, I can understand that he let off steam when the match didn't produce a result. I think England's best chance came when Jadeja walked out. He nicked the first ball. Joe Root dropped the catch at first slip, and there kind of ended England's prospects, because after that India batted really well. But Ben Stokes, to me, has been the most dominating influence so far in the series, notwithstanding the 700 plus runs that Shubman Gill has made.
Yeah, I was about to come to Ben Stokes' nest, but you said all you wanted. Going back to Joe Root, given the form that he's in and given the fact that England plays so many test matches, do you think his form and body holds up for him to go past Tendulkar eventually?
Yeah, I mean, look, I won't say it's within striking distance of Sachin Tendulkar, the number of centuries, a few thousand runs still to get. But he seems to be the only guy who's likely to get to that landmark, play that long. maybe even go beyond 200 test matches. I'm assuming that England is going to play about 10, 12 tests a year. So you're looking at what, maybe 3.5, 4 years. He's not even 35, so he's got, in my opinion, barring injury, at least 3, 4 years more. And he just looks to be getting better and better, like old wine, just seems to be getting better. The hundreds that he's made in both test matches have been marvelous. And not just in these two test matches. If you look at his record over the last 5 years, he has been such a consistent run maker. And everywhere, we've seen him make runs in India, in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka. These are difficult countries for overseas batsmen to score runs against spinners, but he's done it. The only place where he hasn't had really good success or big success is Australia. We'll have to wait and see what happens when England go there. But he looks to be, and I think now that he's in such a rich vein of form and he's been getting these runs, he's obviously going to look at Tendulkar's landmarks as a target. That is something that he wants to get to, because that's the benchmark. Tendulkar has left a benchmark which 7, 8, 10 years ago looked like might never be reached. Now, I think Joe Root is taken such long strides he's just been moving so rapidly towards it that I would be surprised if he doesn't get there.
Yeah, okay. So we should also talk about the Indian captain, Shubman Gill. Now, we know that he will not win his first series as captain because it will only be a 2-2 draw if India do manage to pull off that last win. But what a time he's having with the bat, because I think he's only about 20 runs away from Sunil Gavaskar's tally for most runs in a series for India, and he's already notched up four centuries this series as a travelling bat, which never happens. I think only Bradman and Gavaskar have done that before. So elite company now.
I mean, Shubman Gill, it's difficult to put it in words. I mean, when you went to England, the choice of Shubman Gill as captain had evoked its own kind of, it was seen as contentious because you had Bumrah, then you had KL Rahul, then you had Jadeja, and you had Rishabh Pant. They were all contenders for becoming the captain. Then there was the argument that, but his overseas record is poor and he's vulnerable to the swinging ball or the short ball or whatever. And then you've got now, after 4 test matches, he's got 700 plus runs. He's in the same cluster as a Don Bradman and Sunil Gavaskar. And what can be higher praise for a batsman who's still in his mid-20s? So his first series as captain, 700 plus runs, 4 centuries already. And what I liked about him is his composure. I mean, you can lose heart. They lost the first match very narrowly, India. It's a match they should have won. Then the second match he comes in, and he's very steely. He's got a core of steel in him, Shubman Gill. Makes 430 runs by himself. Then India win the test match. At Lords, he has in a sense, a disappointing match. India go on to lose that match, and he's come back again in the 4th test match and scored a century. The range of strokes, I think his composure, the class that he has been talked about for a while. But his composure and he's got this ability to gauge a situation well while batting. So he knows how to pace his innings, how to construct, how to build a foundation, and then if necessary, change gears to reach the targets that he may be setting in his mind for himself as well as for the team. So I think he's had there've been talk about his captaincy. Remember, this is his first series. You also have a very strong chief coach as a personality. So there are questions being raised as to who's taking these decisions about calling players as replacements, choosing the playing 11 and all that. But I think when you look at it in its totality, I think Shubman Gill has had an absolutely marvelous time as batsman. And I would say we'll have to wait and see what happens at the Oval. The series is still alive. If India can square that series, then he will have had a marvelous series as a captain too.
Yeah. So lastly, for the next test and the final test, we head to the Oval, which is again rumored to be batting friendly. So what do you do as a bowler now? Watching this match, selfishly, I was just looking at Bumrah's figures because I don't want that average to go above 20, and thankfully it's still at 19.82. But given that you're expecting another batting friendly road at the Oval, what do you think the teams are going to do? Do you think they rest Bumrah, or do you think England rests Archer? Or because this is do or die, the chance to square the series, do you think both play and then take a rest for whatever amount of time they need?
I mean, it's reached a situation where I feel, as somebody from the outside, as a scribe and as a cricket fan, that it's a dilemma. But I think playing Bumrah is now inevitable. I know he was supposed to be he was slated to play only 3 matches, but the series is situated it's got into a place or a situation where it's a must-win game for India. Otherwise, you lose the series, and you then can't be without your best bowler. I know the oval pitch may not be as pace-friendly, and Bumrah is a tired man, but I would give the example of a Ben Stokes. I mean, he's bowled phenomenally in terms of number of overs and picked up wickets. So this match, the last match, England, I can understand without Jofra Archer, but I can't see England without Ben Stokes, and I can't see India without Bumrah. I mean, difficult because you take Ben Stokes has been England's best bowler, best player, as I mentioned, and Bumrah has been the pivotal figure. I know that the 2 matches where he's played really well, been successful, India didn't end up winning the match. But that's not the point. The point is that do you put out your best 11 on the park or not? And I think India's best 11 does not become the best 11 without Bumrah.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, next match coming up at Oval, and we'll come back to you after that. So that's it for this episode of Sports Room. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Andrew. We catch up. Thank you.